How's it going, everybody? Sir Douglas here, and on today's video, for the first time in 2025, upon sober review, the 19-time reigning and defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts got a little bit humbled by the Montreal Alouettes this past Friday night at Percival Molson Stadium by a scoreline of 28-10. This was the first time the Argos had lost their Week 1 game since the 2019 season. Not enough alcohol on the planet's going to cure us of that massive defeat. Hashtag Corey Chamberlain is a hack. And this was also one of their biggest losses since back in 2022 when they lost to Calgary at McMahon Stadium, and that was to the scoreline of 29-2. If this were an example of preparation, this would be the Argos did it perfectly as an example of what not to do. Montreal was perfect in their preparation. They were ripped and ready to go, whereas Toronto was still at the General Aviation building at Pearson Airport. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, the defense did pretty well in this game, but yeah, for the most part, you know what, let's just get into it really quick. So if you looked at the depth charts prior to the game, you would have noticed two key subtractions. First one being our starting quarterback, Chad Kelly. He is still recovering from his broken leg that he suffered back at the East Final. From what I understand, he is pretty much there. He's pretty much ready to go. It's just, I think they're gonna probably activate him and put him in for the home opener. The other noticeable injury was Janarian Grant. He suffered an ankle injury and did not practice all week, so he was actually ruled out of the game before the depth charts came out. So Calvin Turner Jr. took over the returning duties for this game, and Janarian Grant, he's not, to put it bluntly. So let's get started with looking into the game itself. In the first quarter, Argos were still very much struggling to get started, and they were also very undisciplined in the first half, let alone the first quarter. Before they got the ball first. They got the ball first, and the penalty was called on them before they even did anything. And I'm like, oh, great. It's going to be one of these games where the refs are going to call everything super tight, isn't it? But no, actually, it was just Toronto being completely undisciplined. First points of the game, and oddly enough, the game-winning point, came from a Jose Maltos missed field goal. He missed it wide to the left, but had enough leg on it to get it totally through the end zone and unreturnable. So 1-0 lead Montreal, and that proved to be the game-winning point. Only in Canadian football, folks. Toronto, like I said, didn't really do much in the first quarter, but Montreal did strike again. Basically, Davis Alexander was a starter for Montreal. He actually had very nice little pass to Tyson Philpott. He carved up Tavares McFadden on the play, and he was completely out of position. Easy catch for him, right in the end zone. 8-0 lead there for the Alouettes. Skipping ahead to the second quarter now, the Argos are able to actually finally do something after a great punt by Montreal and a pretty terrible return by Calvin Turner Jr. The Argos were able to actually move the ball into field goal range, and Liram Hajrullahu doing what he does best. He made no mistake. Easy peasy 3 points for him. So it was 8-3 lead approaching the end of the half. But then we saw something that is kind of uncharacteristic with this Argo team. Once again, the Argos were, after a Montreal 2-and-out, the Argos were pinned deep. Back to pass goes Nick Arbuckle, and Sean Oakman gets a free shot on him, but he goes down. The ball pops loose. It looked like he was in the throwing motion at the time, but there was no whistle on the play. And Adeyemi Berglund scoops up the ball, runs it right into the end zone for an easy touchdown. The command center did have a look at it. They said that the ball was that it was a fumble and not an incomplete pass. This is why I'm not a professional referee, because it took me about a dozen looks at super slow motion to see if it actually was, if they actually got it right or not. And upon sober review, they did get it right. The command center actually got something right for once, and they were able to basically determine that it wasn't necessarily a throwing motion, but what happened was the ball popped loose, and from Nick Arbuckle's fingertips, he was able to kind of push the ball forward to make it look like a throw. That's why if you were like myself shouting at my television screen saying, "What the hell is that kind of crap?" If you slowed it down and really took a good long look at it, you would have noticed that it would have been that, and it was the right call, both on the field and in the command center. So that was that. Extra point was good after that, and it was a 15-3 lead at halftime. Like I said, the Argo offense would they did not look very good at all. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on, but they just didn't. Nothing looked right with them. Start of the third quarter, and James Letcher Jr. doing what he does best and had a great return to get instant field position for the Montreal Alouettes, and they made no mistake on that. They just carved up the field both through the air and on the ground, and they were able to get to the 1 yard line, and short yardage team made no mistake on it. Touchdown Montreal. Extra point was good. It's now a 22-3 lead for the Montreal Alouettes now in the third quarter, and if you're an Argo fan, you're kind of like going a little bit, but of course, I mean, remember, this is the Canadian Football League. No lead is safe. Remember. Another great moment was for one of the rookies, the rookie safety, I think, Derek Sluka. He was able to get his first interception of the season as I believe it was Tavares McFadden swats down a pass that was good, that was going for the end zone, and Sluka was able to kind of catch it. He bobbled it, but he was able to keep it. He was able to stay in bounds and hang on to it, and it was an interception in the end zone. So good. So good for you, kid. Okay, let's see more. Keep that up, and let's see more of it. One other thing I need to mention is that, like I said, Calvin Turner Jr. did not have a good day as a returner, and I think most Argo fans would agree when I saw this. One of the last return I think he had for third quarter, he actually lost a lot of yards on a play, and that was because mainly of him doing his best Bashir Livingston impression, whereas opposed to north-south football, he was doing east-west. And if there's one thing that gets our general manager, Michael Pinball Clemens, very upset, is if you do that kind of stuff. And the thing is, I personally have never seen Pinball hyper angry, but Bashir Livingston made that happen. So seeing that, I'm like, oh boy, he's off. He's just got heat with The Office now. So in the fourth quarter now, then the Argos got pinned deep once again. This field position was great for Montreal all game. They were able to pin the Argos fairly deep in their own territory. However, in the start at the fourth quarter, the Argos actually did something. They were actually able to not only get out of their own end zone. I mean, Nick Arbuckle was just making passes left, right, and center. DeMonte Coxey, Tavares Daniels, David Unger III, they were all able to move that ball. Ultimately, Arbuckle to Double D, he was able to get a second effort and get the point of the ball across the plane of the goal line. Touchdown Argonauts. Extra point was good. Score at this point was 22-10. So, little bit of signs of life here. A little bit of signs of life. Montreal getting the ball back, they countered with a field goal, with another Jose Maltos field goal, 25-10. And then came the most infuriating part of this game. The most infuriating part of this game. Tavares Daniels it was man coverage. Tavares Daniels had him beat by a solid 5 yards. Arbuckle lobs the ball toward him. 9.998 times out of 10, he's catching that ball, and considering he had daylight going to the end zone, it would have been a touchdown, and the game would have been turned on its head at that point. Instead, he bobbled it and dropped it. Like I said, 9.998 times out of 10, that is going to be a touchdown, and it doesn't matter which receiver it is. That was a softball. And that was extremely frustrating because, like I said, that would have turned the game on its head. Instead, we're still behind. And unfortunately, one more last Jose Maltos field goal. Final score, 28-10. So in conclusion here, the team was rusty as hell. It very clearly showed. I mean, the defense actually didn't do all that badly, but I mean, the run defense wasn't all that great. I mean, Montreal was just running the ball down their throats pretty much all night. However, the running game was rather anemic, but I mean, they were only called upon 7 times to do some work. It's like we have good running backs. Why not use them? You know what I mean? But ultimately, in the end, Coach Dinwiddie, everybody that was interviewed at the end of this game held some responsibility for the loss. Especially Coach Dinwiddie. He said, "This was my fault. I didn't have the team ready," which, yeah, it clearly showed. Unfortunately for the Argos, some days you're the dog, some days you're the hydrant. Today, very much the Argos, on this day anyway, the Argos were very much the hydrant. Anyway, that's going to do it for me this week. That's going to do it for me this week. Throw a like on the video. Please, as always, subscribe, hit the little button down there. And I will talk to you again very, very soon with a short preview of the game for the home opener against Calgary. And we'll see you then. Cheers, everybody.